Welcome to the lesson, What Makes All Wines Different? In this lesson, we will learn the three components that make all wines different. First is the varietal, second is the terroir, and third is the human element. Varietal refers to the specific subspecies of grapes used in winemaking, such as Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, or Riesling. This is an important factor in what makes wines different, because a particular varietal has certain characteristics that come from that grape. An example of varietal differences are the hints of guava, grapefruit, or fresh grass that can come from Sauvignon Blanc but will never appear in a Merlot. Blends are one way to get around these varietal differences. By mixing two or more varietals together, you can get a much broader palette of possible flavors. As we mentioned in an earlier class, terroir is a French word with a lot of meaning in the wine world. Terroir plays an important part in creating secondary notes in a wine, as well as helping to indicate what kind of varietal characteristics are shown in a wine. An example of secondary notes are the hints of graphite and flint that appear in wines from gravel and schist-soiled regions. An example of varietal expression is how Chardonnay tastes when planted in different parts of the world. In cool climate terroir, Chardonnay has notes of lime and lemon with very high acidity levels. In warmer terroir areas, Chardonnay shows notes of pineapple, pear, and apricot. The human element can be broken down into three different sections. The first is before winemaking, the second is during winemaking, and the third is after winemaking. Before the winemaking process even begins, we can already start to affect the wine. An example of this is how we manage the vineyard. Some ways this can affect the wine is by choosing to use organic or biodynamic farming techniques, how a vineyard is oriented, when to plant, and many other viticulture techniques. During winemaking, the winemaker has a whole arsenal of techniques at his disposal to affect the wine. He can choose how long to macerate a red wine, mashing the skins, seeds, and pulp with the fermenting juice to give the wine its color and some of its fruit notes. He can choose cultivated or natural yeast for creating certain notes in a wine. He can even decide to add neutral brandy to a wine to create a fortified wine. And he can also age the wines in barrel or steel tanks. These techniques vary from region to region and from winemaker to winemaker. Finally, after winemaking, the process of shipping and storing wine can greatly affect the wine by preventing it from aging or rapidly aging the wine. Imagine two bottles from the same producer and the same vintage. One goes straight to a dark, cool cellar and does not move for 20 years. And the other is resold, traded, shipped various times over the 20 years and not necessarily taken care of regarding light, vibration, and temperature. Those two bottles are opened side by side. One will be showing itself fantastically, with all the right levels of tannin, fruit, and acid, while the other seems cooked or baked with burnt sugary notes. This is the result of the shipping and storage. So let's quickly recap the lesson. What makes all wines different? Varietals are not the name of the wine, they are the name of the grape. Varietals have certain characteristics that come from the grape itself. Terroir plays an important part in creating secondary notes in a wine, as well as helping to indicate what kind of varietal characteristics are shown in wine. The human element can be broken down into three main parts. Before winemaking, where vineyard management practices and techniques can affect the outcome of the wine. During winemaking, where choices such as maceration, yeast selection, and fortification can also affect the wine. And finally, after winemaking, where shipping and storage have great effects on how the wine will taste and smell. And that is the end of the lesson, What Makes All Wines Different. Don't forget to check out the information and resources available in the course site. If you have any questions, you can always ask your teachers. See you in class!